All right. Well, welcome to Engineering Live. I'm your host, John Roberts, and good evening to everyone. Thank you all so much for joining us for this broadcast. I'm joined by five bright current engineering and computer science students. And so what we're going to be doing tonight is chatting with them about life as engineering and computer science students here at the University of Kentucky. All the while, we're going to be answering your questions. And so whatever questions you have, I hope you have them ready. Before we get into our conversation, though, I do want to have our students to introduce themselves, just so you know a little bit more about who you're talking to and asking questions and hearing from. And so students, what I would love for you all to do is to just share your name, your hometown / state, your major or majors, year at UK, and then share some things that you all are involved with. I know you all are a pretty active group, so I know you all are involved in some student organizations and whatnot. So if you wouldn't mind to share that as well, that would be helpful. I'm going to go in no particular order here. So David, you're right next to me, so I will have you go first.
Hi, everyone. My name is David Sanabria. I'm an electrical engineering student from Westchester, Ohio. I'm a sophomore student, and I'm involved in SHIP, which is the Society of Hispanic Professional Engineers. I'm also an engineering ambassador, and I'm also a resident advisor in Woodland Glen 3, which is the engineering LLP.
Excellent. Thank you, David. Lara, I'll go next to you.
Hey, everybody. My name is Lara Larson. I am a biosystems engineering major from Bowling Green, Kentucky. I'm a sophomore in the program. I am a member of the Scholars in Engineering and Management Honors Pathway, aka SEAM. I am a peer mentor in the engineering LLP, as well as a biomedical engineering minor. And I've also participated in biomedical engineering undergraduate research.
Fantastic. Thank you, Lara. Matthew, we'll go to you next.
All right. Hi, everyone. My name is Matthew Asaki. I'm also an engineering ambassador. I'm from Lexington, Kentucky. I'm a sophomore studying computer science. And let's see, some of the things I'm involved with, like Laura, I'm in the Scholars in Engineering and Management pathway. And I'm also in the Association for Computing Machinery, ACM, here at UK.
Fantastic. Thank you, Matthew. Auburn, you're next.
Hi, everyone. My name is Auburn Mattingly. I'm a senior in civil engineering, and I'm from Houstonville, Kentucky. A couple of things I've been involved in here at UK. I'm also an engineering ambassador and in the SEAM program, or Scholars in Engineering and Management. I'm in the American Society of Civil Engineers, and I'm also the outreach director for the Society of Women Engineers, or SWE.
Fantastic. And last but not least, Jill.
Hi, everyone. I'm Jill Steffen, and I'm a senior in chemical engineering, and I'm from Park Ridge, Illinois, so right outside Chicago. And some of the things I've been involved in, I'm also involved in SWE, and I'm currently on co-op with Johnson & Johnson, and I'm also getting my distilling certificate.
Fantastic. Thank you all for introducing yourselves. As audience, as you all can see, we've got a very great group of students here for you all to chat with that have a really eclectic background and are pursuing a variety of different things. But before we get into our conversation, I do want to make a couple of notes real quick. So before we start our conversation, I do want to make you all aware that UK's application for the fall is available at uky.edu, as well as the Common App and the My Coalition app. So you all can apply at any of those places. December 1st is the deadline for early action admissions and academic scholarships. So you definitely want to make sure that you have your application, supplemental materials in for those purposes. And again, specifically for academic scholarships, that's a big date. So make sure you have everything in. Also, we are at the college hosting people on campus And we're also hosting online visits as well. So there's a lot of different ways to come and visit us. There will be at some point a link in the chat so that you all can click on that. So we encourage you all to come and explore the opportunities at UK's College of Engineering on campus or online. So if you want to check out those opportunities to come visit us and learn more, you can check it out at engr.uky.edu/visit. And like I said, in the chat, that link will be available. All right, so let's dive into the chat. We're, of course, ready to take your questions. And while I wait for the questions to start populating, I just want to check in with you all, the students. We're almost to midterms. How's it been going?
I could go first.
Yeah.
It's been pretty busy. I mean, I've taken 20 credit hours is pretty crazy, but like just staying on top of the coursework and everything, make sure that I don't lose my mind. So, but it's been going pretty well so far.
That's a lot of credit hours. Good for you.
I think this semester, just with a lot of the virtual aspects of things, it has been, I've kind of gotten out of the routine that I was used to my freshman year. I felt like I had figured stuff out, and now I'm kind of adjusting and playing it by ear. And there's this constant feeling of, oh my gosh, I'm forgetting something. So I don't know. It's been a very eventful and exciting semester, to say the least.
Are you all ready for midterms?
I think so, yeah. I've enjoyed the semester and already had a couple of exams. You know, I got more this week. It's kind of these 2 weeks, and it's kind of nice whenever they're spread out and not all in 1 week. I'm just really trying to enjoy this as it's my last year here at UK. It's gone by really quick, and I'm really glad just to be able to get to be in the classes and, you know, still have organizations and SWE, you know, to rely on, and just thankful for the community that UK has provided.
Speaking of that, talking about community, of course, pursuing engineering and computer science, I mean, those are rigorous programs. And so finding that community is super important in a variety of ways. And it sounds like you all have done a pretty good job at finding your own communities in different student organizations. And how'd you all go about finding those opportunities in the organizations that you all wanted to be a part of? How'd you all go about getting involved in those?
So for me, I am involved in SWE as well, but kind of the biggest thing was that first year engineering program that we have. I felt like they did a really amazing job of showing all of the different opportunities. There are different departmental events that you're required to go to, I think 4 of them throughout the semester, that first semester that you have in the College of Engineering, and each department kind of showcases their own organizations and that kind of thing that you can get involved in. So I was able to figure out what interested me the most and kind of plan out my choices for different involvement activities that way.
Yeah, same for me also. Like that first year being in the engineering LLP was super beneficial for me because like the LLP events, to see all those student orgs, that's how I got involved with SHIP. And then also that's how I met my best friends in college, where they're my study buddies for classes that we have in common. So for me, the LLP was super beneficial.
I'll echo what David said with the engineering LLP. I really enjoyed the engineering LLP my freshman year, and that helped me meet so many different people, especially being, you know, like from a small town. You know, it helps to get those connections. And Professor L was actually an EGR 101, 102, and 103 professor. And she had office hours every Sunday night in the dorm. So anytime I had trouble with anything, I literally could just walk down the hallway and there was a professor willing to help me. And I think that's really what started and created that community for me. And then with SWE, I actually attended the freshman sleepover during the summer. So coming in that first day of classes, I was able to already know 30 different girls in engineering. And I cannot tell you what of a difference that made. And I've just continued being involved with SWE, and now I'm the outreach director for SWE, and we actually had Women in Engineering Night a little bit ago. And that's one of the things I just love to do, is being able to give back and seeing how engineering can impact someone's life.
Yeah, that's great. Thank you all for sharing your all's experiences with that. So we've got some questions coming in. So kind of that piggybacks off of that initial question that I asked. Colin Nelson, and thank you, Colin, for being with us tonight. We really appreciate it. He asked, what is the relationship like between students in the engineering program?
That's actually one of my favorite things about UK engineering is all of my friends have been in my major and we all study together. And it's an environment where everyone knows it's hard, it's difficult, but you're all in it together, and it's not like a cutthroat, I want to do better than you on this exam. It's we're all in this together. It's tough. We're going to get through it together. And all of my classes have had like study groups where before exams, we just stay up all night studying. And I think it's such a great supportive community.
Yeah, I could not agree more with that. I think there are different groups and stuff that form, like my SEAM class, we had a larger cohort my year, and we all bonded really quickly and immediately started figuring out who was going in the same major as each other, and kind of use that to form good study groups. And everyone is constantly super supportive of everything you're going through. Maybe you're not doing too hot. Nobody's going to be like, oh, well, I'm definitely doing better than you. Like, that just doesn't happen. I felt like that was a thing that I saw a lot of in high school. And as soon as I got to UK, I have not experienced that since then.
So kind of building a little bit further off of this, Hannah wants to know how do you decide which branch of engineering to study? So I think that's where our first year engineering program comes in. So I'm going to pass it on to whoever wants to take it.
Yeah, I think Lara mentioned this earlier, but in first year engineering, you have to go to certain first year engineering events. That's four, I think it was four in the semester. So that gives you an exposure to all the different majors of engineering. So when it comes to make that decision for your sophomore year, you already have a good idea of what you want to do. For me, going into it, I already knew I wanted to be an electrical engineer. So for me, it wasn't necessary for me, but for others, it's super beneficial to go to those first year engineering events.
Yeah, so go for it, Matthew.
I'm muting myself, Lara. You got this.
So for me, I came in having no idea what type of engineering I wanted to do. They all seemed super interesting. So yeah, that first year engineering 101, all of that, game changer for me. Professor L, I love her. I stayed after class to talk to her all the time about the different majors. And honestly, I swear we have the best advising department ever. Like, there's just, you can't top it. So Jennifer was my advisor, and I love her. And I would come to her, I don't know how many times, saying, hey, I think I'm considering this, but I don't know. And she would always just help me kind of figure out what I was thinking and guide me towards what suited my goals best. So I think there is definitely, like, if you come in undecided, not knowing what you want to do, don't worry about it. There's a ton of us, like, I get it completely. They'll definitely help you figure out what works best for you.
Yeah, and going off that, so for the first year engineering program, the first semester, you get to learn about all the different disciplines. And then the second semester, you get broken into small group projects where you and like 6 other first years are given an example project, and you have to figure it out. So there's coding in it, there's some chemical engineering, and amongst the team, you have to figure out which kinds of projects you like to do. And so once you learn about them, you can actually implement them the next semester before you even have to decide what discipline you want to go into. So I liked that. Oh, I really think I like chemical. And then we did a little bit in the chemical lab, and I was like, oh, this is awesome. I totally want to go into this. So that was super useful for me.
Go ahead, Matthew. The floor is yours.
Thank you, John. I think it goes to show how good of a group we have here, because if you don't go first, all the knowledge will be spit out really quickly. But to add on to everything everyone has to say, like Laura said, the advising center has been a really great help to me. And especially, I just want to go on to talk about, again, with the engineering LLP, what's so important is that you're around so many other engineering majors. So if you come in undecided, you can have those conversations, meet everyone, and get to know their experience about why they chose this one or why they too may be undecided, and you can form your own pathway through that.
I guess what I have to add is that it's a process for me. You're not just going to wake up one night knowing I'm going to be an electrical engineer almost. Like you kind of figure out what you like and you see what kind of classwork, what kind of projects. Maybe it's an internship, maybe it's a speaker, that really turns you on. It's not just a one-time thing, it's kind of a process and you'll learn and go along the way. And that's kind of how it was for me. I kind of thought about civil engineering coming in as I went through that first year, and even the second year, even that's whenever it kind of started being submitted that that's what I wanted to do with civil engineering. So don't worry about it right now if you don't know for sure. Just use the time to explore and figure out what you like and what your interests are.
Yeah, that was a great question, Hannah. Thanks so much for the question, and obviously that spurred a great conversation there in terms of just sharing information. And yeah, all of our students are right. At 17, 18, 19 years old, we can't expect our students to have the world figured out. And so that's one of the reasons why the program is set up in the way that it is because we want students to pick make sure they have the right tools to make the right decisions as it pertains to choosing your major. So the first year engineering program is super beneficial and instrumental in that, as you heard from our students. Kind of staying on the topic of majors, I've got some specific major questions for almost each of you. And so I want to start with Tyler. So Tyler, thanks so much for your question. It's great to see you here tonight. He asked, what makes civil engineering different at UK than other colleges?
I would say it's the broad exposure you get because we have transportation, we have bridge engineering, we have construction, we have geotech. Like at most colleges, you're going to get like a civil engineering and then be able to like specialize more. But here at UK, we give you so many different pools of civil and then you get to specialize also. So even though I'm doing structures, I still know about transportation and environmental and geotech. Like I'm still getting an exposure in all of those areas. So whenever in industry and a project comes up that has to rely on that, I don't just know about structures or just know about geotech. I've had that broad foundation and background, and that's what I really like.
Yeah, I would say that is somewhat that our civil engineering department does well. There's also other tracks that a student can pursue within the degree as well, and it very much is broad, like Auburn is saying, which is great for our students because then it can hopefully take you in a variety of directions if so chooses, or you have options when if UK is where you choose to be, which is great. Okay, I've got another major specific question for Matthew. So the question is, what is the best way to start learning computer science, and how do you take that to the next level in your career?
Yeah, I think that's a great question. I think also I had that similar question when I was moving into computer science my first year at UK. And it was interesting. I only took maybe one or two computer science programs in high school, but I really loved the idea of coding. And I think the best way to really get a head start on it is to really connect with the ACM organization and get to know other fellow computer science majors. I think the best thing about organizations here at UK is that you're connected to upperclassmen who have had experience in your major that you're pursuing. They've taken some of the upper level classes and they've kind of struggled along with it and they've made their own solutions. So I think one way is that, especially preparing for this, my sophomore semester, I got really close to and connected with some of the ACM members and asked them, okay, I'm taking this and this and this semester. What do I do here? How should I prepare for this? And for your first year, I will say the FYE program, you're immediately thrown in. They kind of prepare you for an idea of like team building and kind of showing you a little bit of what each major has to offer. And so I wouldn't worry too much if you don't have too much computer science background. And I think it's great that you're looking into that major. And yeah, that's pretty much all I have to say for that.
Yeah, to build off of what Matthew said, I think it's important to realize and remember that while there's a lot of high schools, of course, that offer computer science classes, at this point, it's not mandated usually in terms of a curriculum for K through 12. And so the approach for us at the University of Kentucky is that it's okay if you come in with little to no programming computer science experience. That's okay. You're going to get a good education, and you will learn those skills and that content very well by the time that you're done. So yeah, that just like Matthew said, if you don't have a lot of experience coming in, that is okay. All right, so another major specific question. This one, well, actually, it's not major. It's more minor specific. So Lara, this one goes to you. So Brooklyn asks, and thank you, Brooklyn, for being here with us tonight. So she asked, did you choose to minor in biomedical engineering because the course credits lined up with biosystems, or was it something else?
So there were actually multiple components that went into me deciding to choose that minor. Actually, a lot of it was the minor helping me pick my major as well. I started in biomedical engineering undergraduate research the spring semester of my freshman year. I found a professor here at the university that I adored and wanted to work with in that fall semester in the first year engineering program. And she kind of exposed me to the biomedical engineering side of things, and I kind of really fell in love with it. And I discovered that the biosystems engineering major is a very flexible major that it has the different pathways you can choose from. And I was able to get the BME minor with only taking 2 additional credits outside of what I would have. So that worked really well with that. And I truly think they're a great combination. I know I want to go on to pursue a grad degree in biomedical engineering. So the biosystems major allows me to kind of get a little bit more exposure for if some reason later on down the line I decide to choose a job that's not necessarily in the biomedical side of things, I can still do that, but the minor allows me to choose a more specialized track.
Yeah, that's a good point. So the good thing about the University of Kentucky is we have options, right? And so there's, now with the introduction of the new biomedical engineering 4-year degree, we've got the minor too. A lot of different ways to go about that experience, which is really great for our students. So we've got another kind of major specific question. This goes to Jill for chemical engineering. And so Claire, I'm gonna kind of split your question into 2 to really kind of cover that. So I hope you're okay with that. So we'll tackle the chemical engineering portion of it first, but thanks for being here tonight, Claire. We really appreciate it. So her question is, are there any required co-ops, internships, undergraduate research for chemical engineering?
No, that's a really good question. But the UK program is super flexible, so you can kind of customize it how you want, because there's a lot of people in my year who were getting a chemical engineering degree and going on to med school. So having a co-op would it be beneficial to them? Personally, I did choose to have a co-op because I wasn't sure what industry I wanted to get into. So I wanted to trial around, but a ton of my classmates are doing research only. A ton of them are just doing internships. So you can really pick and figure out what you want to get out of that experience and customize it for your own education.
Great, thanks so much, Jill. Hopefully that's helpful to you, Claire. So the second part of her question was, and this I think can go for any of you all, because I imagine more than one of you all have this experience. The second part of her question is, what local community engineering involvement opportunities are available both on and off campus? whoever wants to dive in, go for it.
I
If we
can
wanna-
start. Okay. Okay. I'm outreach director for SWE. So we do a lot of outreach with the community. So that's Women in Engineering Night with like high school students. We used to do lunch with SWE before COVID, which is every single week we would take high school girls who were in the College of Engineering for lunch. And we also do tutoring off campus with William Wells Brown Elementary School. So we really make an effort to give back to the community, both with people wanting to come to UK with high school students and also those local elementary school students off campus, and science nights and STEM fair nights and all sorts of things to make sure that we're encouraging other students to pursue engineering.
So another thing is I guess like gen ed communications credit that everyone takes. For me, I took CIS 112. That class requires you to do some community service typically in Lexington, unless you take it over summer. So there is a great place called Newton's Attic here in Lexington. And I don't know a ton about it because I haven't gotten to work with them directly, but I've had some friends that have had that experience, and they kind of promote STEM and engineering and all of that to younger people, elementary through high school. So a lot of my friends that have volunteered there and gotten the course credit from it have also gotten to see that side of things and really enjoyed it.
One of my favorite days that the College of Engineering puts down is E-Day, which is an awesome event where we have a ton of different companies and all student organizations. They host like their own activity to get younger kids involved in engineering and educated about what it is. So it's a huge event. Tony Jackson, the recruitment chair, does so much work for it. Hopefully it will happen this year, but that's an awesome way to get involved with campus, but also the community organizations around town.
Yeah, absolutely. So as you just heard, Claire, there's a lot of opportunities through different organizations. We have a variety of student organizations specifically in the college, but then we also have a lot of organizations at the University of Kentucky. And so, if community service, giving to the community, or being involved on campus, off campus, you are not going to be short of opportunities to give back here at the University of Kentucky. It's very important for us, and so we do that in a variety of ways. Shifting gears, I want to get to Veronica's question. So Veronica, thank you so much for your question. I really appreciate this, and I appreciate you being here with us. So we're going to kind of split you up into two groups, in-state and out-of-state. And so Veronica wants to know, for those of you who are from out-of-state, what made you pick UK in-state, or made you pick UK instead of an in-state school? So we'll start. I want to hear the David and Jill's perspective first, being in-state choosing, and then I'd love to hear Matthew and Auburn and Lara's perspective about being an in-state student choosing UK. So
I can start. Like for me, like when I toured UK, that was the first school I visited, and like I fell in love with it immediately. Like with the brand new dorms in the engineering LLP combined with the innovation center, where you have the abilities to create things, and I love like 3D CAD design, so having 3D printers to use was really cool for me. And then UK had some very competitive scholarships, and in my situation, coming to UK was the most financially sound option. It was cheaper by a pretty significant amount of money. So for me, UK was a no-brainer, and it was my number one choice. So I was thrilled to be able to come here.
And I kind of had a different experience than David, because I applied to like 20 schools, and UK was one of the last schools that I visited. And even though it was one of the last, I absolutely fell in love with the campus and the community, and every person that I met, whether it be a student or faculty, everyone felt like they were so invested in my future and really wanted me to succeed. And since coming here, I've felt the same thing every single day. And it has so much construction on campus, which during my tour was kind of annoying because we had to walk around, but Now we've seen all that construction turn into brand new student facilities, and there's just so many resources for students, and I feel so supported. And I would make this choice any day again.
All right, so let's hear from our in-state students. Yeah, why UK?
I chose UK because I wanted somewhere that felt like home. And I'm from a small town where I know that people care about me and someone knows my name. And I wanted to go to a college where I wouldn't just be a number, where my professors would know my name and my advisors would know my name. And I really didn't think I would get that at UK with it being such a big college. But I came in toward UK and I sat in on a class and I saw how the professor knew the students' names. I was like, what? You know, and then I actually went ahead and met with like an advisor as a high school student, you know, just kind of getting to know some people at UK. And I was just astonished by the level of commitment they had towards their students. And then it was actually Jennifer George. And a week later, I saw her at a restaurant and she recognized me. She was like, oh, hey, Auburn, how are you doing? And I'm like, you remember my name? You know, and I think that just made such an impact on me, seeing how UK cared about their students and how they weren't just a number and how they wanted their students to succeed in engineering. And just that level of commitment and community, it just made it feel like home. And I knew that UK was where I was going to school and where I belonged.
So for me, one of my, like, I've always been really nerdy with like new technology, I like the newest thing, right? So with UK, when I toured and I saw all of the construction and all of that going on, for some people that's kind of frustrating and all of that, but to me it showed that they were constantly invested in making their university and their campus and their amenities, all of that better. So in my time here at UK, that has been confirmed that they truly do care about being the best they can be, constantly improving. They aren't just going to be like, okay, great, we're doing good, we're settling where we are. No, they are always improving things. And I saw that in my tours, and it was confirmed through the different events and that kind of thing that I came to. And also, like, I just love UK. I love the campus, all of it. I came and toured and was just blown away. So it's definitely a university that feels like home, and you don't, although it is a large school, it does not feel that way. So.
Yeah, going off with what Laura and Auburn said, what everyone has said. I mean, I've been here, living in my hometown of Lexington, Kentucky. UK has pretty much been symbolically like a little neighbor to me. Well, big neighbor to me downtown. And I can't remember a time, this includes for Lexington, the whole city, and for UK itself, when I haven't seen construction going on. There's always something new and something brand new popping up out of nowhere. But I think the biggest thing for me for UK was that, one, well, it was close to home for me. And another thing was I wanted to go to a big college, but what I found was great, and I know some of the other students here have said it as well, but it being such a big campus, but you really have that sense of community, and you really form your own little community inside a huge community that UK has to offer, especially with the classes. I was worried about going into these big lecture halls of up to like 100 or 200 students, and I won't lie, there are one or two classes you will have when it's a pretty big lecture hall, but other than that, for engineering classes, you have smaller size or medium sized classes where you get to really know your professor and get to really know your other classmates as well, so I really like that aspect of UK.
Yeah, I would say that that's pretty indicative of just generally the student experience at the College of Engineering at the University of Kentucky. You know, it tends to be a tight-knit group because engineering is challenging and computer science is challenging. And so everybody's kind of working together to be supportive and to make sure that we all are successful. And so I feel like that's even more true in terms of, you know, being, you know, a tight-knit community and really, you know, kind of being this place where everybody knows your name kind of scenario. I feel like that's even more true for the College of Engineering, which is great for our students. I want to circle back to some major specific questions that we have. So first, I want to address Gunnar. Thank you so much for being here, Gunnar. I appreciate your question here. He asked, can I enter the college as undecided and then go into the engineering route? That's essentially the purpose for the first year engineering program, like we discussed earlier, is to allow students to kind of be, undecided and take some intro classes and be able to, kind of flesh out exactly what it is that you want to do. Again, 17, 18, 19-year-olds, we don't expect you all to have life figured out just yet. And so we want you all to, we really, encourage you all to explore. So a little bit getting into more major kind of questions. This one goes for Matthew, Tech Fury, who's asked some great questions so far. Tech wants to know, for Matthew, what are your preferred programming languages and why?
Yeah, that's a great question. Great name. I'll have to say, like I said before, I didn't really go into UK with a much computer science background, but I will say currently my preferred languages are C++ and C. And I think, and the main reason for those is those are the first languages that you'll be taught here at UK, C++ especially, your second semester of your first year is what you'll be taught as a computer science major. Also, if you're computer engineering, you'll have some of those classes as well. I think I was introduced to C just this year in one of my upper level classes. My professor had thrown it at us and I had learned alongside him, and I was sitting here like, what is this? It's a completely new language, but I had to learn it, and I was along with some other students, and the professor was a great help. And so, but right now, currently it's C++ and C. I know I have a bunch of other computer science friends who enjoy Java and Python, but currently in the classes that I'm taking, and I think even going into next semester as well, you'll be focused on a lot of C and C++. I know in the first year engineering program, they'll show you MATLAB code, which you won't see it as much in computer science if you continue along that track, but I know in some other engineering degrees, you'll see MATLAB again later on through your college career.
So staying on the topic of computer science, Chloe wants to know, and thank you, Chloe, for being here with us tonight. I'm glad that you're with us. Chloe specifically wants to know about UK's computer science program, what kind of concentrations are available, such as cybersecurity. Is a minor the only way to focus or to have that focus in your degree?
Yeah, that's a great question. Actually, that's a really great question because I was just talking to my advisor about what some computer science things, what we have here to offer at UK. In terms of cybersecurity, there's a cybersecurity certificate that you can go for. And so as per some other certificates that UK has to offer, you'll have to be taking a certain amount of classes they have like a list in their certificate. And then you choose which classes might interest you and you complete it and you'll be rewarded a certificate. With computer science itself, what I think would be really cool if you're interested also in machine learning, AI, and things like that, when you're reaching into some of your CS electives that UK has to offer, which they have a ton of options here with computer science, and I'm just getting into it. I looked at the list maybe 1 or 2 weeks ago, and I'm still sitting here trying to figure out what I want to take and how I want to plan stuff out. But the CS electives are a really great place because when you're going into your CS major, you're going to have to take a bunch of major required courses. And the electives is truly where you get to pick, okay, I'm interested in this part of computer science, I'm interested in this part, and you really specialize in that aspect.
Yeah, in addition to the certificate for cybersecurity, I know that we've had students do internships with organizations and groups that are in cybersecurity as well. So in addition to the classes that you're going to be able to take, you're also going to be able to take, or you're also going to be engaged in some of those internships that do that kind of work. So, so I think it's not as necessary that you have like a major in cybersecurity. I think having the major in computer science, that gives you the fundamental skills and the tools that you need to be able to do cybersecurity is the most important thing. It's the extra few classes plus the experience that's going to allow you to step in to computer science and do a really great job. Yep. So we do have all those opportunities here for our students. I want to back up. Gunnar, I apologize that I got lost in my questions here. Gunnar asks, are there internships available for civil engineers? So Auburn, I know you've done that before.
Yes, there are so many different internships available for civil engineering. You kind of get to have your choice, like which kind of firm and what type of engineering you want to do. So I'll kind of walk through a couple of mine that I've had. Hopefully that'll help you. So I worked at AGE Engineering in high school in the summer before my freshman year of college. So they did a lot of land surveying and project management. So I got to learn about that and boundaries. So that was really neat. And then my freshman summer, I actually worked at the Kentucky Transportation Cabinet. So I started off doing some construction and then also did bridge maintenance and preservation. So I actually got to do a bridge climb over the bridge over Lake Cumberland. So that was really cool because, you know, you're on there, hooked onto the bridge and inspecting it because it's a fracture critical bridge. And it's so neat to see stuff that you've learned about in your classes in real life. And then last summer, I worked at Collins Engineers, which we did underwater engineering. So you actually would take a piece of equipment and would send out sonar waves and show you what the bridge looked like underwater. So you were able to see like, oh, there's a crack here in the foundation. And that's so neat to be able to show that to a client. It's really like a picture worth 1,000 words. And then this past summer, I worked at Lockheed Martin in structural analysis. So I was doing everything that I've been doing in my classes, being able to apply it to the real world. And having those different internships really helped me kind of see like what part of civil I like better. Did I like construction? Did I like, you know, land surveying? Did I like structural analysis? And I think that's what's really helpful. And our career development office is so helpful in helping you find those internships for civil engineering. And we'll have like over 200 companies at the career fair, and a good majority of those are civil engineering companies. So I would say there are plenty of opportunities to have an internship and co-op with engineering and civil engineering and full-time jobs as well. So that is not a worry.
All right. Another major specific question. This one goes to Jill from Claire. Claire wants to know, what is the best part about majoring in chemical engineering, and what do you enjoy the most about it?
Oh, that's a tough question. There's a lot of things I like about it. I think mainly I really like how diverse it is. As I mentioned earlier, you can go into chemical engineering and do so many different things. Speaking of Auburn's internships, I've had an internship doing research and development. I've done one for process engineering. I've done one for quality engineering in completely different fields. So I kind of got to take my basis and figure out, oh, I really like consumer goods and doing R&D, and you just got to figure out what you like. But I think at UK, what I loved most about chemical engineering is it's a smaller cohort. So my class only had 60 people, so you know everyone really, really well. It's super supportive, and you got to do a lot of hands-on in our chemical engineering lab.
Real quick, Matthew Tech Fury wants to know, as a computer science major, what is your dream job title, and or what is your dream job, and why did you choose that to be your dream job?
Yeah, I think that's a great question. It's good to know, kind of have an idea of what you're aiming for, especially when you're in college. Right now, I mean, I joined computer science, love coding, but one of the things that really brought me to what my dream job is, and I'll say that in a bit, is that I don't think I can't really see myself coding for the rest of my life. And so I'm really aiming, and this is what UK has helped with so well, is that I'm aiming to be a project manager, hopefully one day at a company. And I really couldn't see myself as a software programmer, software designer. And so as a project manager, it'd be more of a management role, and I'll be, as the term manager would imply, but I've been in a leadership position. I'll be working with a team. And right now, to do that at UK, I'm part of, as I said in the beginning, the Scholars in Engineering and Management program, which is a great program. I'm with a bunch of other engineering students, and we're really looking into how to be a leader, how to work as a group, what kind of leader you are. And so that's really what I'm aiming for right now. Some of the internships I'm looking at also have to deal with project management or in a different position where I'm working with software engineers. And so that's really my current goal right now. If my dream job would have to be some sort of CEO. I don't know exactly. Yeah, I'm kind of cheesing about it over here, but I really don't know how I'm going to get there yet. But project management through computer science, that's the goal right now.
And I'll add on Matthew, I'm in the same program in the project management class right now. So I actually just finished it right before this and I'm really enjoying it. So it's a great class and I'll be excited for you to take that your senior year.
I am looking forward to this now.
So kind of shifting gears a little bit, we've talked a lot about majors and programs, which is great. And we could droll on and on and on about those because they're worthy of talking about. But we also have a great question from Tyler that I definitely want to spend a little bit of time talking about, which is where we're actually at, Lexington. Lexington is a fantastic place. And so Tyler says, I am from New Orleans and we have a lot of different events and activities, but I want to go to out of state for college. What are the best events? What are the best events and activities in the surrounding areas?
We just had Lexington Burger Week. So
Which is fantastic.
A bunch of different restaurants locally participate in Burger Week, and there's a whole website for it. You should totally Google it. But they have like specialty burgers. Like there was a peanut butter and jelly and brie burger and like all kinds of really cool stuff. And they're like $6. Like they run them for a pretty good price too. So it's a great way to try out new restaurants here in Lexington and also try out some kind of crazy burgers that you wouldn't necessarily try otherwise. I am a burger lover, so I was very excited about that. So yeah, that's my highlight.
The app is particularly helpful because then you can actually see how close you are to burgers, which for me is great because I want to be in close proximity to tasty burgers. So cool. Anybody else got anything?
One thing for sure, this is definitely pre-COVID, but going to Keeneland, it's an absolute blast. Like you get to dress up nice, be with your friends. So Keeneland's an absolute must if you come to Lexington.
Even post-COVID,
sorry.
Even post-COVID, my roommates and I have still gone to Keeneland just to like watch the sunset and like taking a towel out and just kind of laid out there, goofed off, threw a frisbee around, that kind of thing. So Keeneland is still a really nice area during COVID times.
And for those of you who don't know, Keeneland is like Lexington's local horse racing. So a lot of people say it's better than Churchill Downs in Louisville, and I personally agree. But if you're from NOLA, you might like music. And in our downtown area, we have a really fun Thursday Night Live where they have live music. And then we also have like a night market, which is the same kind of vibe. It's kind of like a farmer's market at night. And there's live music for that too. So Lexington's it's got a lot of character. It's really funky and fun, and it's really great place to live.
You can't forget about UK basketball games now. Come on. I mean,
That's true, right? So we have Division I athletics, and our athletics excel in not just basketball, but in other sports as well. And so to Auburn's point, that is very much an attraction being on campus. One thing I want to plug because I like the outdoors. Well, two things I want to plug is, so Lexington is in close proximity to Red River Gorge and the Pinnacles. So they're kind of in separate directions, but both are really great parks with great views that have great hiking. Particularly Red River Gorge has some great rock climbing, and it's a canyon system in Kentucky. And so anyway, so if you like the outdoors, those are quick, like hour drives, and you can make a good day out of those two places, which is awesome. So going back into majors, I've got a question for Lara. Philip wants to know a little bit more about biosystems engineering, which is good because, biosystems engineering isn't a major you're going to find everywhere. And so, hearing from you will be helpful.
So one of my favorite things, probably my favorite thing about biosystems engineering, as I mentioned earlier, I came in not knowing what type of engineering I wanted to do. So I knew I was kind of looking for something more broad, and I definitely found that with biosystems engineering. We have 5 different kind of pathways or tracks that you can choose from. We have the bioenvironmental, machine systems, controlled environment, food and bioprocessing, and then they also have a pre-med or pre-vet track. So each of those kind of specialties or tracks allow you to choose technical electives in those areas that interest you. I'm currently in our intro to biosystems engineering class where you explore each of those different tracks, similar to how you do the different majors in your first year, and pick what works best for you. So, and like I said earlier, they also have the biomedical engineering minor that you can kind of follow that track as well and get that minor with only a few additional classes. So that is probably one of my favorite things about it. I have a lot of friends that are really interested in clean energy and conservation that way. Others like the more of the genetic side of things and kind of want to work on GMOs or that kind of area. I don't know a ton about that, but there's definitely a lot of options within it. I definitely recommend getting on the College of Engineering website and looking specifically at the biosystems engineering department page, because they go more into depth into each area, what kind of classes you expect to take, all of that. And it's really good information to kind of get ahead of time and figure out what you like, what you don't like, that kind of thing.
So thanks for the question there, Philip, and thanks for being with us tonight. I have another major specific question. This one goes to David from Tech Fury. Tech Fury wants to know, why did you decide to become an electrical engineer?
I decided to become an electrical engineer because I've always had sort of a fascination with electronics, and electronics is the future. So it's definitely a great major to pursue. And my dad's an electrical engineer, so there's definitely quite a bit of an influence there with that. But for me, I've always just had a fascination with electronics, and that really led me to electrical engineering. And so far, I haven't been disappointed. The circuits classes are really interesting. Learning how just basic circuits work and then seeing that build up into bigger things is really cool.
Awesome. Thanks so much. So we're closing in on the hour mark, and I want to be respectful of everyone's time. I know we didn't get to everyone's question, but good news, we're going to do this again next month with a whole new group of students. So those students will have different experience as well. And so, if we didn't get to your questions, you want to learn more or hear different student perspectives, then I certainly encourage you all to check us out next month. So we'll of course send reminders and invites as well. Before I get to this next question, Hunter, thanks so much for being with us tonight. It was good to see you here. We didn't get to your question and I apologize, but we will certainly, if you join us next month, I'll be happy to get to your question then. So last question, and this is for everybody, so I'd be curious to hear everyone's thought on this. What is the most valuable, so this comes from Veronica, and she asks, what was the most valuable thing you've learned at UK?
All right, I can start this one off. So one of my professors told me freshman year that as long as you're doing something that you love, everything else will fall in place. And that's something that when it's all the chaos of college and all the clubs and organizations and classes and homework, and kind of started to get a little blurry. So I always like to just remind myself, like, oh, like I know I love what I'm doing, and just being able to find that pathway to find out what you love most, and like that's what your college experience is for. As long as you got that, you're set for the rest of your life. So hopefully that works out for me. Stay tuned.
I'd say for me, the most valuable thing I learned was in my digital logic class, where our professor was like, as long as you do the work, things will fall in place. Sort of similar to what Jill said. Like my freshman year for me was pretty easy. Like for my courses, I took some of those in high school, so for me it was kind of a repeat. And my sophomore year is when things really started to get difficult. And for me, like when I really started to put the work, that's when things clicked, and that's how I was able to really excel in my classes.
As far as class-wise, the most important thing I've learned is probably my statics class, because you learn about shear and moment, and I have used that in statics. I used it in solids, I used it in structural analysis, and I'm using it in steel now. And like, it's just kind of foundational, and everything builds on that. So as far as knowledge-wise, that would probably be the most important thing I've learned here at UK. As far as just like experience wise, I would say more of to believe in yourself, because a lot of times you're in engineering and you think maybe this is too hard, maybe I can't do this, you know. And I think it's just learning that you can do that, and you have the support system, and the professors are more than willing to meet you halfway. And as David was saying, whenever you're putting in the work, you end up getting it and it starts clicking, and just realizing that you can do what you set your mind to do.
So for me, this is a tough question, because I feel like I've learned so many things, and like this is my second year here. But I think one of the biggest things that will impact me probably for the rest of my life has been in my SEAM class, when we were discussing different leadership styles and communication styles and all of that. And kind of at the time I was like, okay, this is annoying. Like I didn't really want to be doing it. But now in my classes, when we're working on group projects and all of that, I kind of have a general understanding of how different people respond to different types of leadership and communication and all of that. And you're able to use other people's skills to your advantage in those group projects and all of that, which came in handy in Engineering 103, which is an entire group project. So yeah, I think that class, although it wasn't necessarily 100% engineering, I have been able to apply it to all of my engineering classes thus far. And it has been very enjoyable, and I appreciate it a lot more than I thought I would at the time.
I would say for me, the most valuable thing I learned is that you're not alone here at UK, especially in the engineering program. If I remember first semester when I had some classes, if I had a problem, I looked to my roommate. If he didn't get it, I'd look to my neighbors down the hall. They might not get it either, but then someone down the hall, even farther back, who just got to push it a bit, they might understand it. And you make these connections, and you get to realize that everyone's in the same boat. They're new to college, they're stressed out, they're anxious, excited, and you're just not alone here, especially when it comes to classes. Your professors, they're really willing to help you and sit down with you. Professors have office hours, but you can even schedule times with them to like say, oh, I can't make it to this one. Could you meet me at this time? And they really sit down with you and explain to you the concepts of if you're having problems in the class, or if you just want to get to know them. And I think that's what's such a great thing that I learned about, is that you don't have to do this by yourself here at UK.
Wise words from some wise individuals. So I really appreciate that. Tyler, it's great to hear that this has been helpful for you. So we certainly look forward to seeing your application come through. Likewise, Claire, I'm glad this has been helpful, and I appreciate you being here tonight. Also, Hannah, we look forward to your application coming through soon as well. So thank you so much for being here. Tech Fury and Colin and Veronica, thanks so much again for being here. We appreciate your interaction tonight. And yeah, we hope to see you all on campus soon. Before we close out, I've got just a few notes here. So if you all have any additional questions about anything we've covered tonight or anything that we didn't cover tonight, you can reach us at visit@engr.uky.edu. The email address is in the chat. You can also text us at 859-267-1877. So that should be in the chat as well. For anyone that's interested in learning more about us, I certainly encourage you all to come and visit us on campus, or there's other online opportunities which you all can learn more about us as well. So you can check out all those visit options at engr.uky.edu/visit. The link is in the chat. So definitely click on that to see your visit options. For updated content about our faculty, alumni, and our students to see how they're making a difference in the engineering and computer science worlds, certainly follow us at UKY Engineering on Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, and YouTube. So we have a lot of great content that can really help you all learn more about how we're actually making an impact in the world from the college. There's also a link in the survey for a quick, the link in the chat for a quick survey. So it will take you all 30 seconds to complete. We'd love to hear from you all about how to continue to make these Engineering Live broadcasts better. And so we would love your feedback. So click on that link and let us know what you think. As a reminder, the application is live, so you can apply at uky.edu. Or on the Common App or My Coalition app. Again, the big date is December 1st. Make sure you get that in because that's the big date for scholarships, and scholarships are great. So I definitely want you all to get scholarships. So make sure that you all send your application in and supplemental materials in by December 1st. One last reminder, if we didn't get to all your questions tonight, we're going to be doing this again next month. And so we will be sending out reminders and invitations in the near future. Thank you all again for joining us for Engineering Live. We hope this has been helpful to you all. We hope to see you all on campus soon, and go Cats.